Zariah sat alone inside the cold radar station, far away from her planet's busy cities. Her long blue fingers moved quickly across glowing panels. The sky above her was dark and full of stars. Most nights were quiet, boring. Nothing ever happened. Out here, she was just a young alien girl doing her duty watching space, scanning for danger, logging peaceful traffic. Everyone said this job was easy and safe, but tonight, something was different. Unusual signal detected, said the robotic voice of the station's eyes. Zariah looked up. A red dot blinked on the far edge of the screen. It was coming from deep space fast. Too fast. She leaned closer, her silver eyes narrowing. Her heart beat faster. That single quotes S. Strange. No ship flies like that anymore, she whispered. The AI began scanning the object. Model, unknown. Size, large. Speed, above normal. Direction, heading to orbit, the AI reported. Zariah tapped a few buttons and zoomed in. A shape appeared on the screen. Her breath caught in her throat. The ship was sharp, metallic, and covered in old-style armor plates. Its engine trail burned like fire. And then, the system showed a name, classified, human origin. Zariah froze. Her hands began to shake. Can't be right, she said softly. Humans aren't real. They're just old stories. Her planet's schools had taught her about humans. But only in history myths, dark tales about violent creatures from long ago. Creatures who once ruled the stars. Then vanished. No one had seen a human in over 300 years. Some said they were wiped out. Others said they were never real to begin. With Zariah quickly opened a channel to Central Command. This is Observation Post 9. I've detected an unidentified ship. Possibly human in design. There was silence. Then laughter. Come on, Zariah, a voice replied. You've been watching too many old space dramas. I'm serious, she shouted. It's coming closer. And it looks like the ships. From the old archives, humans don't exist, the voice said. Calm down and reset your system. The call ended. Zariah's heart sank. She stared at the screen again. The ship was still coming. Now within her planet's outer ring, she zoomed in again. Closer this time, the ship was damaged, scorched, but powerful. It looked like it had been through many battles. Yet it kept moving forward like it had purpose. Zariah opened an emergency alert. Her hands moved fast, typing in override. Codes. The AI blinked. Warning, you are not authorized for this level of access. I don't care, she muttered. I need answers. She pulled up every ancient file she could find. Her screen filled with pictures, old records, hidden data, blurry photos. Ships just like the one outside. Human ships. Matched exactly. Zariah sat back in her chair. Her skin felt cold. Her mind raced. If this was real, then everything they taught her was a lie. Why would her people hide this? Why would they erase humans from history? She stood up and looked out through the glass dome above her. Somewhere in that endless black sky, the ship was getting closer. Suddenly, her radar beeped again. New message. Incoming communication. Source. Unknown vessel. Zariah hesitated. Then tapped the button. Static filled the room. Then, a voice. Rough. Deep. Male. Is anyone there? Zariah stared at the speaker, frozen. The voice continued. This is Commander Eli Graves, last survivor of the Aegis Dawn. I repeat, this is a human vessel. We come in peace. Please, respond. She couldn't breathe. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The myths were real. The humans were real. One was calling her. Her hands shook as she replied, voice trembling. This is Zariah of planet Velari. You're a human? A pause. Then, the voice answered, tired but firm. Yes, and you are the first alien I've heard in 300 years. The message ended. Zariah sat in silence. Her world had just changed forever. She looked back at the red dot now just outside orbit. A ghost from the past had returned. And no one was ready, but she was. "I have to meet him," she whispered, "before they try to destroy him." Zariah couldn't sleep. She had shut off the lights in the radar station, but the red glow of the human ship still blinked on her screen. She had replayed the voice message over and over. That deep, human voice, it felt real. Too real. And now, the ship was only minutes away from entering her planet's orbit. Her people still didn't believe her. Her commander had shut off communications, calling her hysterical. They thought she was imagining things. But Zariah knew better. She sat alone in the control room, staring at the screen. Her reflection looked pale and afraid in the glass dot. Suddenly, dash alert. No deceleration detected. Approach speed increasing. Her eyes widened. No, they're not slowing down, she whispered. The human ship wasn't coming to stop. It was coming in fast, like it didn't care if it crashed. The station I beeped again. Trajectory analysis. Collision likely. Impact in 7 minutes. Zariah stood up, heart pounding in her chest. She ran to the emergency terminal. "Send a signal. Tell them to slow down." She shouted. Error. Communication jammed. She had no idea how, but someone or something was blocking her signal. Was it the humans? No, that didn't make sense. She looked back at the screen. The ship wasn't attacking. It was struggling. She zoomed in. Sparks flew from its engine. One side of the ship was blackened from an explosion. The ship wasn't coming in fast on purpose. It was falling. "This isn't an attack," she breathed. "They're crashing." Zariah didn't wait for orders. She ran down the hall to the shuttle bay. Her light body moved fast, sliding around corners. As she reached the launch pod, her AI warned her again. "Zariah, this action is against protocol." "I don't care," she shouted. "If that human dies, we lose the truth forever." The pod door hissed open. She jumped inside, strapped herself in, and launched straight toward the falling ship. Outside, the stars turned into streaks. Her small shuttle raced through the cold black of space, straight toward the incoming human vessel. As she got closer, she could see just how bad the damage was. The ship was older than any model she had seen in the archives. It wasn't built for landing. It had been built for war. Laser burns, melted panels, cracked hulls. It had survived things no ship should survive. And yet, it still flew. "Come on, hold together," Zariah whispered. She matched her shuttle's speed with the human ship. Carefully, she extended the docking tube. The computer gave her a green light. Docking complete. Zariah's heart beat wildly. She floated into the airlock. Her breath fogged inside her helmet. She reached the human ship's hatch and knocked. Silence. Then dash clang. Clang. Hiss. The door unlocked. It creaked open. The smell hit her first. Old metal, burnt wiring, and something like rust. Then she saw him. The human stood tall, armored in a dark suit with a cracked helmet tucked under one arm. His beard was rough. His eyes were tired, but sharp. They stared at each other in silence. Finally the human spoke. "You came." Zariah took a shaky breath. "You're real." He nodded slowly. "I wasn't sure anyone out here would believe I existed." Zariah stepped inside. The lights flickered. The ship felt more like a haunted ruin than a vessel. "Why are you here?" she asked. He looked away. "I'm looking for someone." "Or anyone. I thought maybe someone would remember us." "Everyone thinks you're a myth," Zariah said softly. "But you're not." He gave a weak smile. "Then I guess we both found the truth." Suddenly, her wrist device buzzed. Warning. Planetary defense ships launching. Intercept course detected. She looked up in panic. "They're coming." "My people, they think you're a threat." The human looked at her calmly. They always did. Zariah's hands shook. We have to leave now. He turned to the ship's controls. Then let's make sure they don't get to write the ending of this story. Zariah thought she was ready, but when she stepped deeper into the human ship, she wasn't. The door shut behind her with a heavy clang, sealing her inside. The lights above flickered, casting long shadows on the metal walls. The air felt heavy, old, full of silence and ghosts. She followed the human without speaking. He didn't walk like a monster. He didn't bark orders or act like the savage her people described in their history books. He walked slowly, tired, wounded maybe, but calm. The hallway was full of strange things, symbols, photos, even pieces of broken text stuck to the walls with tape. One photo caught her eye. A smiling group of humans standing together in front of this very ship. One of them was younger, but it was clearly him, Commander Eli Graves. Zariah stopped. Are they your crew? He paused and looked back at her. They were, he said quietly. Now I'm the last one. She didn't know what to say. She expected a legend, a soldier, a threat, but all she saw was a man who had lost everything. They reached a small control room. Most of the screens were cracked. Wires dangled from the ceiling like vines. Eli sat down with a groan and tapped a few keys. A display came to life slowly. Red warnings blinked across it. Life support's failing, he muttered. Reactors running on backup. 2 days left, maybe less. Zariah stared. How long have you been drifting? Eli gave a sad smile. Long enough to stop counting. She looked at him closely now. His face was weathered. His suit was old, scratched, and patched in places. But his eyes, those eyes held fire. And pain. Zariah sat across from him. Her voice was gentle. My people don't even believe you're real. They say humans were just myths, stories for children. He nodded. That's what they wanted. They? Eli leaned back in his chair. Your leaders. The Galactic Council. They decided humans were too dangerous to exist. After the war, they erased us from history. We disappeared. Zariah's heart beat faster. But why? What did you do? He looked at her, tired but honest. We fought back. The silence between them grew thick. I lost my brother in that war, she whispered. They said it was a human weapon that destroyed the moons of Delka. Eli didn't flinch. They only tell you half the truth, he said. Yes, we fought. We made weapons, but we didn't start the war. Zariah stood and walked to the window. The stars outside looked the same as always, but now everything felt different. Like her whole life had been built on a lie. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed from her wrist device. Hostile units approaching. Intercept in 5 minutes. She turned to Eli. They're coming to destroy the ship, and you. He looked at her calm. I figured. Zariah's voice shook. You're not going to run? I've been running a long time, he said. Maybe. It's time I stop. No, she said firmly. Not like this. She marched toward the docking tube. Eli called after her. Where are you going? To my shuttle. I'm not letting them kill you, not before the truth is told. He stood slowly. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Zariah stopped at the hatch. Her voice was low. Because you're not what I expected. And I won't let my people kill what they're afraid to understand. She opened the hatch. Eli stepped beside her. I guess myths can still surprise us. Together, they entered her shuttle and UNDOCK behind them. His ship floated in space, silent, wounded, and still holding its secrets. Ahead, the fighters were coming. Zariah grabbed the controls. Hold on, this is going to be rough. The stars looked peaceful, but peace was a lie. Zariah's shuttle zipped between asteroid chunks as 2 alien fighter ships screamed after her. Each second, the enemy grew closer. She gripped the controls tight. her teeth clenched. In the back seat, Commander Eli Graves said nothing. He was watching, remembering. A blast exploded near their left wing. "We're not going to outrun them forever," she shouted. "We don't need forever," Eli said calmly. "Just 10 more seconds." 10 seconds to what? Eli pressed a button on his wrist device. A hidden beacon blinked. Once. Far ahead, an old, forgotten moon lit up on her map. It wasn't on any of her charts. The system marked it as dead. No life, no stations. But the signal came from there. Zariah stared in disbelief. "What's on that moon?" Eli's eyes were hard. The truth. They dove toward it. The enemy ships followed, but slowed down as they neared the dark moon. "Why aren't they firing?" she asked. Eli smirked. "Because they're afraid of what's buried there." They landed on the moon's cracked surface. Dust flew as the shuttle touched down. Everything around them looked broken, silent, forgotten. But Eli walked like he knew every step. Zariah followed him across the rocky ground, past shattered towers and dead machines. The entrance to an old bunker appeared in the dust. It looked like it hadn't been touched in 100 years. Eli placed his hand on the panel. It still recognized him. With a soft hiss, the door slid open. Inside, lights flickered on. Blue, ancient human lights. Zariah stepped in slowly. It was cold, but not empty. Holograms buzzed to life around them, images of humans, scientists, soldiers, families. Data streams ran through the walls. A voice spoke. "Welcome back, Commander." "Graves," Zariah jumped. "Your systems still work?" "Not all," he said. "Just enough." He led her to the central core. A large machine stood in the middle, its sides covered in human language. He pressed a button. The room changed. Screens filled with old footage, real footage. Zariah watched in silence as the truth unfolded. Humans fighting side by side with alien allies. Then betrayal. Her own people, along with others, turning against the humans. War. Fire. Silence. Orders from the Galactic Council. Erase everything. Make them vanish. She covered her mouth. Her skin turned pale. I didn't know," she whispered. "They made sure you wouldn't," Eli said. "History isn't written by the winners. It's written by those who hide the most." Zariah turned to him. "They killed your people, and then lied about it." Eli didn't speak. He didn't have to. A warning beep echoed through the bunker. Ships above, charging weapons. Zariah stood tall. "They tracked us. They're going to destroy the bunker." Eli walked to a control panel. "Then we send the truth first." He inserted a small data core into the console. It began uploading. "To where?" Zariah asked. "To every open channel in the galaxy." Zariah's heart raced. "If this works, everything will change." "Or," Eli said, "they'll just try harder to erase us again." She looked at him, eyes burning. "Then let them try." Above them, the enemy ships locked on. But the signal was already gone, racing across space, jumping from satellite to satellite, reaching planets, colonies, markets, ports. Truth had wings now. And it was flying fast. Asterisk. The ground shook beneath Zariah's feet. Dust rained from the ceiling. Warning lights flashed red. The old human bunker, silent for centuries, was now alive and dying. Structural failure in 60 seconds. The AI voice echoed. Eli grabbed her arm. "We have to go, now." Zariah hesitated, her eyes on the last screen still glowing. The truth human. History was finished uploading. Billions of beings across the galaxy were now watching it, watching humans smile, fight, bleed, and get betrayed. Zariah clenched her fists. "I won't let them bury this again." Eli looked at her. "Then, don't die with it." They ran. Above them, the enemy ships fired. Explosions rocked the moon's surface. The sky turned orange with falling debris. Fighters swooped low, Scanning for survivors. Inside the crumbling hallway, Zariah and Eli pushed forward, dodging fire and falling beams. The main exit collapsed in front of them. "We're trapped," she yelled. Eli didn't panic. He pointed to a metal ladder. "Maintenance shaft, this way." They climbed, breathing hard, metal hot beneath their hands. At the top, a hidden hatch opened, leading out behind a rock ridge. Their shuttle was still there, untouched for now, but a new fighter hovered nearby, scanning. Zariah whispered, "They're looking for us." Eli opened a small case from his belt. "What's that?" she asked. He showed her a smooth black sphere, a human cloaker, one use. "We'll look like rocks for 10 seconds. 10 seconds isn't long. It's all we've got." He pressed it. The world shimmered and vanished. Zariah felt like they didn't exist anymore. Even the wind didn't touch them. She and Eli crawled silently toward the shuttle. 9 seconds. 8, 7. They reached the ramp. Eli's boot slipped, hitting a loose rock. The sound echoed. The fighter turned sharply. 2, 1. The cloak failed. Beep alert. Target locked. Go. Eli shouted, pushing her up the ramp. The shuttle's engines roared. Zariah slammed the door and hit launch. The fighter fired. A missile streaked toward them. At the last moment, the shuttle shot upward. The missile missed, exploding into the bunker. Instead, the shockwave hit them hard, sending the shuttle spinning. Zariah fought the controls, her hands slick with sweat. "Stabilize, stabilize." Eli took over navigation. Together, they leveled out. Behind them, the moon cracked open. Fire spread where the bunker once stood. It was gone, but not forgotten. Far above, ships were already reacting to the broadcast. On peaceful planets, children watched human history in shock. On war worlds, generals cursed and slammed fists. And in quiet homes, alien elders whispered, "We were wrong." But others wanted blood. Zariah's face appeared on a bounty list. "Traitor wanted." Dag stared at the screen in disbelief. "They marked me, my own people." Ailey placed a hand on her shoulder. "You stood for truth. That's what makes you dangerous." Suddenly, her screen flashed with an incoming call, encrypted. "Unknown source." She answered. A voice whispered, "We believe you. We've been waiting for this. Coordinates sent. Come quickly, before they find you." The message ended. Zariah looked at Eli. "Who was that?" He smiled for the first time in days. "Hope. Asterisk, the place they landed. Shouldn't have existed. Not anymore. Hidden deep inside a shattered asteroid field. The small space station floated quietly, broken on the outside, alive on the inside." Zariah and Eli docked their shuttle with care. There were no guards. No flags. Only a quiet voice waiting at the door. "Welcome, Commander. We've been expecting you." Zariah stepped out, stunned. Aliens from many species stood waiting, some she'd never seen before. Old soldiers, exiled scientists, forgotten diplomats. One by one, they bowed to Eli. Zariah stared in shock. "You have followers?" Eli shook his head. "Not followers, witnesses, survivors." An old alien woman walked forward. Her fur was silver and her eyes kind. "I saw humans fall," she said softly, "but I never stopped believing one would return." Inside the station, lights flickered dimly. Screens buzzed with news feeds from across the galaxy. The human data, sent from the bunker, had gone viral. Planets were rioting. Leaders were panicking. Debates raged everywhere. Some demanded truth. Others wanted blood. Zariah sat with the stations. Council aliens like her, once loyal, now rebels. "We've all lost someone to lies," said a blue-scaled male. "But the galaxy won't listen forever. They'll shut it all down. Then we make them listen," Eli said. "One final broadcast. Live, unedited, to every world." Zariah looked around. "They'll come for us before we finish," the old woman nodded. "Yes, but it will be worth it." They set up in the old command chamber. Zariah stood in front of the camera. Her hands trembled. "This is crazy," she whispered. Eli placed his hand on her shoulder. "Truth always is." She took a deep breath and spoke to everyone watching. I am Zariah of Villari, a soldier, a daughter, a believer in lies. My whole life I was told humans were monsters. But I met one, and he saved me. He didn't come to conquer, he came with the truth. They tried to erase him, just like they erased history. But we remember now, and so do you. The question is, what will you do with the truth? The feed reached billions. Some cheered. Some cried. Some screamed in fear, but no one stayed silent. Then the station shook. Incoming SHIPS heavy-class war cruisers. They found us. Someone yelled. Zariah turned to Eli. "We're not armed." Eli tapped the console. "Doesn't matter. We already fired the most dangerous weapon, truth." The station groaned as the enemy surrounded them. A voice came through. "Surrender now. This is your final warning." Zariah closed her eyes. "We can't outrun them this time." Eli stepped beside her, calm. "We don't need to." He lifted the signal chip, already burning from the upload. "Even if we fall, the galaxy has seen us." Zariah smiled through tears. "Then let them remember us standing." The doors exploded open. Light poured in. But so did voices louder than weapons, stronger than fear. Across 100 screens, millions were chanting, "Truth lives, we believe. Protect the message." Ships from different systems broke away from the attackers. All eyes rose from the shadows. The war cruisers hesitated. Then a signal from the human core worlds, long thought dead, appeared. "This is not the end." Asterisk. The stars burned brighter that day. Every screen across the galaxy, every device, every port, every ship was frozen on the same image. Zariah, standing beside the last human. Her voice had shaken the worlds. But what followed was beyond anything she imagined. The enemy ships never fired, because something rose behind them, a signal so strong, it overpowered everything. Coordinates locked. Source: human core systems. Status: active, alive. Watching. Zariah stared in shock. "That's impossible. Those systems were destroyed centuries ago." Eli didn't blink. His voice cracked. "They were hidden, protected, waiting for the right moment." The broadcast shifted. A face appeared. An old woman, human eyes sharp, uniform spotless. "I am General Ava Holland of the Human Core Defense. To all who still believe in freedom, rise. To all who betrayed us, we remember." Zariah fell to her knees. Not in fear, in awe. She had brought humanity back into the light, not through war, but through truth. Later that day, the enemy command fell silent. Some surrendered, some vanished, some tried to deny everything, but it was too late. Children on distant worlds now played human music. Alien poets quoted ancient Earth words, and rebel flags were replaced by a simple bold mark, the symbol of Earth. Zariah became both a hero and a target. Her home world called her a traitor. The galaxy called her a savior, but she didn't care about statues or titles. She only cared about the promise she made. Months later, in a quiet green field, on a restored colony, a shuttle landed gently. Zariah stepped out. Alone. Her hands trembled as she walked forward. Waiting at the tree line stood a figure. Tall, familiar. Alive. Eli. She ran to him without a word and threw her arms around him. He hugged her back, stronger than ever. "I thought you were gone," she whispered. "I almost was," he said. "But the galaxy didn't let me. They pulled apart." Zariah looked into his eyes. "So, what now?" Eli smiled. "Now, we rebuild together." As they walked toward the new human settlement, the camera feed that had once revealed the truth still looped across old satellites. A single line glowed on every screen. "They tried to bury us, But they forgot seeds grow in darkness.